Let's pull it up, being that we're talking about it. I got the whole fucking term here. We'll look at the men's first. We got it pulled up here. What you guys see on screen right now, if you're watching on YouTube and live on X, the Owen Hart Memorial Cup for 2025 looks like this. Left side of the bracket. Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight, who is 7 days into his AEW run, and he's already in a tournament for the biggest prize in the company. I have a lot to say about that. I fail to even think that AEW couldn't find a better professional wrestler for this spot than Kevin Knight. I don't understand why Kevin Knight is even in this fucking tournament when he just got into the company. Now, this was supposed to be Jay White's spot, Jesse. Apparently, Jay White is injured. I didn't hear Excalibur say anything at the top of the show. I'll get to that in a second. But Excalibur apparently made mention that Jay White was injured. AEW mentioned, says Sap on Fightful Select, mentioned on Dynamite that Switchblade Jay White was injured due to an attack from the Death Riders and out of the Owen Hart Foundation Memorial Tournament. Fightful Select learned that White has sustained a legitimate injury ahead of Dynamite, but that a storyline reason was created to explain it, if you even want to call it that. Fightful has confirmed the injury, and that Jay White is expected to undergo surgery. We've not confirmed what the injury specifically is. The injury has caused some significant creative changes as a result of his removal from the tournament. Now, this was supposed to be Jay White. Now, I think if Jay White versus Will Ospreay was the opening match for this tournament at the pay-per-view, I think everybody kind of knows that Will Ospreay was probably going to go on to win that match. But the thing is, Jesse, and I'll bring you back here live with me so people could see us. We'll go back to the brackets in a second. You know, the whole Jay White thing, this is what frustrates me, and this is what frustrates fans about this product and why people have tuned out of the product. You know, Jay White, and Jesse's going to mention it in Collision Corner because he watched it, I did not. I watched highlights of Kevin Knight. I know how good Kevin Knight is. I didn't really see anything with Jay White being injured. Now, did he get injured during the match? Possibly. But he didn't wrestle like he was injured coming out of Collision. I mean, it was just last week or the week before that where he announced himself for the Owen. So I knew that he was in the tournament, but everybody's left asking, where is he? But they come up with a storyline here, Jesse, quote-unquote storyline reason why he's out, and they say the Death Riders took him out. I don't understand why you would go and do that and then show us nothing of the footage or no footage at all about him being taken out by the Death Riders, and you as a company, you as a creative team, want me, the fan and the analyst, to sit there and say, hey, man, that's a great reason why Jay White's not in the tournament. You just said he was taken out by a group of thugs, and you did nothing to film anything regarding that, resembling that, and you want me to sit here and say, oh, man, that's a good enough reason. You couldn't film something to see this guy beaten up? You couldn't film something so that we have visual fucking evidence that this guy is out? Because everybody that watched Collision saw this guy wrestle a decent match against Kevin Knight, and now people are starting to ask questions. And if you go to his Twitter handle and his Twitter page, there's no mention of AEW in his Twitter profile. So what exactly is going on? Is he injured? Possibly. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not because I don't fucking know. Jesse doesn't know. But something about this really doesn't rub me the right way, man. AEW went about this terrible, and Excalibur saying he's injured, that's a lame duck reason. We're going to need more than removing Jay White from the tournament after he already announced himself for the tournament last week.
Bro, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I watched the match. He looked like he worked fine. If they were going to do a storyline with him getting beat up by the Death Riders, again, like you said, why was nothing filmed? Nothing. Bro, I mean, I don't care if he couldn't get to the venue. You could have had him film something from his phone at a hospital or something, talking about how they jumped him and he didn't appreciate it. At this stage, from what they gave us, anything would have been better than just commentary just telling us this. Because, yeah, now it does raise red flags. Was there any mention of AEW in his bio before this? I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't pay close enough attention to that.
Me either. I don't go around and read everyone's bios. You know what I'm saying? You know, who knows that shit? But, yeah, you just can't come out and just say, oh, he's hurt, Death Riders, moving on. Is there a reason why the Death Riders would have attacked Jay White?
There is no reason. There's no reason. He took care of Cope. Why are they attacking Jay White after they took care of Cope? And their mission now is Swerve and beating Swerve. None of it makes any sense.
It makes no sense. I mean, why would anything, bro? They could have shown text messages, bro. Something that dumb would have been better than what they gave us. It does leave a lot of holes. It makes no sense. Even looking at the brackets, like you said. We'll be getting Jay White versus Will Ospreay in the first round. Granted, that would put a foot in that it's too predictable shit. You know what I'm saying? Fine, great. But that is a little bit early for that matchup, you know. But at the same time, I don't want to knock them because we just complained about how it was too predictable. And that was definitely very unpredictable, at least in the sense of, yeah, we know Will Ospreay is going to win, but could be. Maybe, possibly, who knows? Now we know Kevin fucking Knight's not gonna beat Will Ospreay, right? That's predictable.
Kevin Knight is not beating Will Ospreay. Listen, either one of those matches would have been predictable, but at least it would have fit the narrative that all the big guns in this company are vying for the fucking opportunity to wrestle for the AEW Championship at All In. Kevin Knight does not belong in this tournament. See,
no, he does not.
What you watch anywhere else in the IWC, anybody else that has a show live right now, they're not gonna spit the shit that Jesse and I say because we're a little too fucking real, okay? And I want you to clip this, and I want everybody to fucking have a blast with this. This Kevin Knight situation in this tournament reeks of the news article that came out where Kevin Knight had chosen AEW over WWE despite WWE interest. He felt like he would have been better in AEW, and WWE, you know, they were left hanging, and he chose one over the other. This, to me, reeks after Tony Khan has his nose in literally everything in the community, after he saw that Kevin Knight had interest from WWE, and they wanted him over there, and he chose AEW. This is the only thing I could possibly think of in regards to this situation. Tony Khan put Kevin Knight in this tournament because of that specific reason, because WWE was interested. They wanted him. He chose Tony. He chose AEW. So now Tony is going to be hell-bent on trying to get this kid over and hell-bent on shoving it in their face because there was interest there, and Tony's going to make an example. Oh, you wanted him? Now I'm going to make him into a star. You wanted him? I'm going to give him the big rocket pack, and I'm going to shoot him up to the top. This does not mean Tony wants to book Kevin Knight and push Kevin Knight because he loves Kevin Knight's work. There's nothing more than a fucking narrative behind Kevin Knight being in this tournament, and that's all it is. Kevin Knight does not belong in this tournament. Kevin Knight doesn't stand a fucking chance against Will Ospreay. And all I see with Kevin Knight in this tournament is a fucking narrative to shove it in WWE's face. And if you book your show that way, you are already fucking behind everything that really matters, man. That's fucked up. And I hate that I have to come on here and say that because nobody else is going to fucking pinpoint that and call that out. This shit sucks. This is not a pay-per-view match. He doesn't belong here. On what fucking planet do you bring Kevin Knight, who nobody fucking knows, and you put him in a tournament 7 days after he signs the dotted line for an AEW contract in a tournament for the biggest show of the year to fight for the biggest title that they have in the main event? Does that make sense to you?
No. And so I don't know, any new viewers who might be popping in, I don't just randomly and just co-sign on any and all AEW hate. I'm going to give them a fucking fair shot. But everything he's just said is 100% fucking true. This reeks of fucking desperation, man. This reeks of absolute desperation. There is no reason to... And before I say this, Kevin Knight, and I see all the people in the chat, like, who's Kevin Knight? Who's this jobber? Who's this guy's going to be a jobber? Kevin Knight, and clip this, is fucking amazing.
Kevin Knight's great.
And what does? He's fucking great, man. I watched this guy live in TNA. He is an absolute special fucking talent in the ring. And I think with the right kind of push and the right kind of good storytelling, I do think he has a chance to do something really good in this company down the fucking road. That does not mean you get a hold of him, someone who you found out that that WWE had interest in, and you push him like he's the fucking the next coming of fucking John Cena. I mean, it is not that fucking serious. You're putting too much on this guy too early on. You're putting him, you're shoving him to the fans way too much, way too fast. Outside of people like me and anybody else who really pays attention to the deep diving into pro wrestling, no one knows who this guy is. Absolutely no one. So you're pushing this guy this hard to people who have no interest in him. None. We will find out how great of a wrestler he is in due time when you book him in meaningful stories. The guy just got here. Give him an enhancement match. Give him a nice little match against a contracted employee. Do something nice with him at a pay-per-view or a buy-in or pre-show, something like that. Give it a few months. Stick him in the Hurt Syndicate. Boom, that would have been nice right then and there. You know what I'm saying? But you've already started down this path of this guy is so amazing. We had Jay White at the end of the Jay White match on Collision. Jay White sat there and cut a promo like this guy was going to be the future of the goddamn business. Now, is he that great? No, probably not that great. I mean, but you got to see how well Jay White put him over. But give him a chance. Give him a chance organically for the fans to find out if they like him or not. You are immediately trying to tell us that you have to like him. He's great. Jay White said so. Look, he's in the Owen already. Look, he can do this. Bro, too much too fast. No one's going to give a shit. People are going to push back because you're pushing so fast. Let the guy do his thing.
I agree. Everything you said. I saw the speech that Jay White gave him. I mean, like you said, it's like he's the second coming of fucking MJF over here. It's like, remember when MJF and Kenny Omega wrestled on Collision and Kenny Omega put over MJF? That was a passing of the torch moment in AEW. This, Jay White to Kevin, I mean, how does nobody see that? It's just so disingenuous and so just forced. I can't believe people are not seeing this and picking this up. It's so blatant that it legitimately angers me. And this is another reason, I'm not afraid to call this shit out, another reason why people are not watching this fucking show. And I don't blame them. Kevin Knight should not be in this tournament at all. That is just ridiculous. Now, I'll pull the men's bracket back up here. Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight. Gee, I wonder who's going to win that one. Will Ospreay's in the semifinals. Brody King versus Konosuke Takeshita. You know, I texted jokingly with Jesse back and forth tonight. Brody King got a win. We started the show off tonight. Brody King got a win. He's wrestling Konosuke Takeshita. Tonight, Jesse wrestled Lance Archer. Lance Archer versus Brody King got what, 10 minutes? I don't know why. It was only done so that people can forget that Brody King right now is a loser on this roster. He's a fucking loser, and I hate saying that because he's so fucking great. But they gave him a win tonight just so that he could realistically lose to Konosuke Takeshita. So, you know, Takeshita's going to be wrestling Ospreay, and that'll be a rematch from Ospreay's first revolution with the company. That was last year, and that will be the semifinals of the tournament. I'll bring it back to live here with us. You know, Brody wrestled Lance Archer tonight, and I said, you know, I think we mentioned it last week as well, Jesse. Brody said that he didn't need anybody's house to lead him, right? And it was him and Buddy. Buddy, unfortunately, got hurt in Australia due to the fucking 16-foot ring. And Brody's been on his own. No Julia, no nothing. He comes out doing his thing. Yep. And he said he didn't need anybody's house to lead him, yet ever since he said that, he's done nothing but lose. He won tonight. And now he's going to go into the Owen here, the first round, and lose to Takeshita. You know, if there's anybody that's hurting Brody King, it's Tony Khan and AEW Creative, because I think they're doing more harm than good, and I don't know how the fucking geniuses over there don't see it. Jesse, what happens when you see someone like Brody and the size of Brody and the athleticism of Brody win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one? That's what I call indifference. People are going to catch on very quickly and then not give a shit about Brody King. And you're doing more harm than good than putting him in these fucking matches to lose like Fletcher last week. And then he wins this week only to lose to Takeshita whenever the tournament kicks off. How is that doing him any good? And how are you building his star power by this 50-50 booking bullshit? I mean, how does nobody see that? Yet
Yeah,
the fans want nothing but Brody, and they want to see this guy win. Yet you put him out there to fucking do 50-50 booking, man. This is what we complained about. Vince, we're going to complain about it now, and people are going to label us fucking haters. But I've been doing this shit for far too long and calling this shit out way too much. If you have a problem with what we say about 50-50 booking in regards to Brody, you are fucking mental, man. This shit sucks and is doing more harm to Brody than anything, Jesse.
It's 50-50 booking is being generous. He's lost more than he's fucking won. Ever since he left, ever since the House of Black disbanded, there's been no interest in Brody King. 50-50 to me, 50-50, you're just a loser. No one's gonna remember the wins. They're just gonna remember how much you keep losing.
Yes.
And it's not just about the losing. You're losing matches to guys with no story behind it at all. You come out, nice entrance music, big badass Brody fucking King, crowd barking with him, fucking mask on. This guy fucking tatted up. You ever seen this guy do a concert? This guy's a fucking maniac on the stage. This guy's great. Comes out there and loses. Well, okay, maybe he'll win next week. He loses 2 straight. Okay, this guy sucks. No, he doesn't suck because he won a night. He beat Lance Archer. No, he just lost 2 straight. And then now it looks like he's going to fucking lose in the tournament. So he's just a loser. He's not even 50-50. He's just a flat-out loser. And I've said this before. This guy should be at the top of the card. This guy should be one of the next challengers for the world fucking title when he gets done with his crew. I don't know why they broke up him and Julia just because Buddy is hurt. It sucks that Buddy is hurt. But you still have him and Julia. Why is Julia not coming out as his fucking valet, looking menacing, looking like the fucking dark witch and everything else? All of that adds to the aura. This guy came out with a crew. Now he's coming out by himself getting beat. And then later on, you're going to want me to care about him when you decide to push him in. And guess what? It's too late. We don't give a shit anymore.
I don't understand it. You know, the lazy and what's a good word? Uninspiring is a good word. The uninspiring creative that AEW has in regards to their larger athletes, Brody, Wardlow.
Oh, it's bad.
Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Hobbs.
I worry about Bobby Lashley.
What are we doing, man? Like someone like Brody King could really be a star for this company because he is not of the same mold that this indie-rific garbage comes from. You know, he comes from the old school Ring of Honor. I mean, this guy sings for a fucking deathcore band. You go to fucking one of his concerts, they'll slice you and dice you right there in the fucking mosh pit.
It's fucking lit.
I mean, what are we doing, man? Brody is a fucking money maker if they put any sort of effort behind him, and you do nothing but put this guy behind losses and 50-50 booking.
Bro, I don't like I like some rock. I don't like death metal. I don't like speed metal. I'm not a fan of it at all. If you ever seen Brody King on stage with his band performing, bro, I just want to be out there. I just want to fucking that fucking energy, man. I want to be a part of that shit. It is fucking great. His presence on stage is fucking fantastic, man. And then you get him in the ring and the crowd is behind him. Heel or face, they don't care. They want to fucking bark with fucking Brody King. Same way they bark for fucking Braun Breaker. They want to bark for Brody King. This guy's great. For all intents and purposes, Brody King should be literally the equivalent to Braun Breaker on AEW.
Bro, not even right that. Now. He should be the equivalent to someone like Jacob Fatu. Look at what WWE's doing with Jacob Fatu, and then compare the fucking two. You think Jacob Fatu would look as menacing as he does if he went out there and lost half of the fucking matches that they put him in? Man. You should be ashamed of yourself. It's fucking ridiculous.
And someone brought up to me on Twitter last week after last week's show, Brody King is a punker. Brody King said something nice about Punk.
There you go. I mean, you need any more reason as to why the guy's fucking dying 1,000 deaths on this show? That's the reason. Can you imagine WWE booking Jacob Fatu and 50-50 booking garbage? Can you imagine them doing that? If anything, there's the blueprint for how you book this guy. Brody's just as athletic as fucking Jacob Fatu. Brody could do everything that Jacob Fatu does. But here we are on AEW where you got a bunch of fucking uninspired, uncreative hacks who don't know how to fucking book a pro wrestling show and don't know how to book themselves out of a wet paper bag. We got them with Brody King, and Jacob Fatu's over in WWE lighting the world on fire, probably going to win the United States Championship at some point. Has a major WrestleMania match ahead of him in a couple weeks. Yet Brody can't win a fucking match on AEW television.
Should be killing it.
Absolutely killing it.
Him and Julia should be doing promos, pre-recorded promo segments, talking about how the dogs are still strong, talking about they can't wait for Brody to come back better than ever. They're gonna continue what they do. I even suggested, I know it sounds fucking crazy, because of his current appearance, but I even suggested going out and recruiting Julia Hart's former friend in Griff Garrison and starting a transformation the same way that Julia Hart was a fucking cheerleader with Griff Garrison, starting a transformation and start recruiting a Griff Garrison to join the Hellhounds. You know what I'm saying? It's something to do. Griff Garrison is a young fucking kid. He can use the fucking the little bump and everything. It's something fresh. It's something fucking different. And Griff's is pretty good, man. And all we get is this. We get Julia Hart losing. We get Brody King losing. They suck. They both suck now.
Julia Hart, we'll get to Julia. She's in the Owen. She's going to lose. She's going to lose, but she's in the Owen. Yeah, if Jacob Fatu is in AEW, he'd be wrestling hologram, teaming with the Luchadors. Absolutely. Absolutely. His first match would have been against Orange Cassidy. Clueless. His entire fucking company's fucking clueless, man. They don't know. They don't know talent if it smacked him in the fucking face. Give me a break.
It was a good comparison, man. Jacob Fatu is very equivalent to a Brody King.
Yeah.
Very fucking equivalent. I
just
don't get it.
I don't know.
But yeah, Blake Christian's out there fucking just getting all the fucking sunshine right about now, though.
That's just very weird. He got more TV appearances in the last 2 weeks than Wardlow has in the last 2 years. Imagine that. Unfucking believable. Back to the Owen. We got Kevin Knight and Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's going on to the semis. Brody versus Takeshita. Takeshita is a fucking great pro wrestler. He could be somebody that holds the world championship at some point, and I hope that does happen for him.
He will.
I hope so. He's going to go on to the semis. Him and Ospreay rematch from Revolution last year, and that will be the semis on the left side of the bracket. On the right side, Mark Briscoe versus Kyle Fletcher. Let's bring us back to live here. Listen, I love Mark Briscoe. I adore Mark Briscoe. I don't know why Mark Briscoe is a regular in these tournaments when all he does is fucking lose. What has he done to put his name in the hat for the AEW World title at All In? What? When was the last time he won a match? Can someone tell me? Like a meaningful match. I don't even think that exists. Why is he in this tournament? And why are we looking at another predictable match in the tournament that will see Kyle Fletcher go on and advance to the semifinals? Why?
To go against Hangman, who's going to beat whatever wild card they put out there.
I don't know. I mean, what has someone please tell me, what has Mark Briscoe done to be in this tournament? Absolutely nothing. But you know what? He's going to deliver a great pro wrestling match. And the last time that they wrestled, I don't know how long ago. What was it? A week ago, 2 weeks ago? Great fucking match. It meant nothing. Yeah. But now they're doing it again because I'm sure Tony heard all the criticisms. Oh, it meant nothing. It was just a match for the sake of having a match. And now they're doing it again to build some sort of fucking story between them in the tournament where we all know Kyle Fletcher is going to get his another victory over Mark Briscoe. But yes, the wild card will be going up against Adam Page. Now, last year, if you guys are not aware, Jeff Jarrett was in the tournament, and Adam Page was the wild card in the tournament last year. And he went to the finals to wrestle Bryan Danielson, which ultimately gave us Bryan Danielson winning the Owen and going on to winning the World Championship at All In against Swerve Strickland, which was a fucking great moment and an unbelievable match. But now, Jesse, we're looking at Hangman, who's not the wild card this year, going up against the wild card. So the roles have been reversed this year in 2025. Who are we looking at here for the wild card? I mean, I got a couple of guesses, and jokingly, but kind of not at the same time, obviously the first name that jumps off the page is Jeff Jarrett because of his friendship with Owen and the fact that they just dropped his storyline out of nowhere where he wanted to chase the World Championship. I could absolutely see him being the wild card in this case to try and go up against the Cowboy again and ultimately lose. But again, it's the same problem that we're running into with all these matches. Why are you going to give me a match with Jeff Jarrett and Hangman where we all know the winner before it even starts? I don't want to see that. We all know Hangman's going to win no matter who he's in the ring against because he's going to be in the finals. But the other choices that I have here, Hangman against Jarrett, I could see Josh Alexander coming out there and having a great match, losing in his first match, yes, but
right,
you know,
that might not work.
Josh Alexander, that's a possibility. Or like people were saying, maybe it's MJF. I don't know why you wouldn't announce MJF and plaster him all over this fucking tournament, why you would keep him some sort of secret in the tournament when he's made statements for the last, 6 months. I want my Triple B back. Why isn't he in the fucking tournament? Why isn't he on the opposite side of the tournament? I don't get it. MJF versus Ospreay, MJF versus Page 2, MJF versus Takeshita, MJF versus literally anybody. Where is he? How is he on the show and not causing a problem? Where's my Owen inclusion? Now I want to be in the Hurt Business. You fucking serious? God, this show sucks. I hate this fucking show. This show is the worst 2 hours on television, and SmackDown exists.
Yeah. So if I had to pick, I don't know. I'm gonna think outside the box. I'm gonna think outside of the Josh Alexander's.
Hologram says it's hologram.
Oh God, please don't. No. Why would you put that out there like that? Don't do that, man.
Oh man, imagine that, man. I could absolutely see that being the case.
So I need to put somebody there who can. First off, it needs to be a debut or return. And I don't like booking debuts to lose, so I'm going to pick a return. And if your return is going to lose, it needs to be a reason behind it so you can progress a storyline that probably is already there. I'm going to think outside of the box and say Luchasaurus, and he loses because of the patriarchy coming out to do some shit and some shenanigans in that match.
I hate it. I hate it.
Me too.
I hate it. You know,
they have nothing else though.
One exclusion from the tournament is Darby Allin. Darby's supposed to climb Mount Everest this month. He's not in the tournament, so whoever wins this tournament, it will not be Darby Allin. So the idea that everybody was going with, including us, and we talked about it on Tuesday as well with Solid Monster, that Darby versus Moxley was the original plan. It looks like they have now changed plans. And it will not be Darby Allin taking the World Championship from Jon Moxley at all in like everybody thought it was going to be because he wanted to climb Mount Everest. So he is not in the tournament. But I don't know. This men's tournament, to me, is very weak. You know, you're going to have your fucking shills and your AEW narrative positivity grifters out there. Ospreay and Takeshita. Going to be a great match. Don't get me wrong. Ospreay's going to be in the finals. Briscoe, Fletcher's going to be there. Page is going to be there. Adam Page versus Will Ospreay is going to be your final. And that's the only unpredictable aspect of this tournament. They do everything. This entire tournament is predictable outside the final. And if I was to choose one or the other, Jesse, that's a tough one. Now I'm going. My heart says Page, but I think they go Ospreay. I do. Yeah. I think they may do Ospreay. I think they may do Ospreay Moxley, and I think they may do Page and Swerve. Honestly, again,
you know, and it's hard. Here's the thing: you can make solid cases pro or against any of these top guys that would be in it. But at the end of the day, we're trying to make sense out of stuff in a company that doesn't give us things that make sense.
I don't know.
Will Ospreay does not need to win this fucking tournament.
No, he doesn't. I don't know what he does at All In if not the tournament. What does he do at All In?
I don't. Look, first off, I don't know because they don't know. I mean, but you can do anything. You can insert this guy anywhere and he would fit into a program. He doesn't need to win this tournament to do it, to get over, to get to a championship match. He doesn't need that fucking, he fits in anywhere. You just need to place him correctly and book him correctly. Kyle Fletcher would benefit from a win in this tournament.
He would. Nobody gives him a chance in the night to win this tournament. I think Page and Moxley is the way. Honestly, if Moxley's going to beat Swerve, I hope that's not the case. Hangman winning the championship should be the end goal at All In. Swerve needs to win. That's what needs to happen. Swerve needs to win. He needs to win the championship Sunday, and we get Page and Swerve. That's your main event for All In. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I don't know where you put Ospreay. I don't really give a shit at this point. You want to book the main event? Let's start talking about the main event. It's going to be Hangman versus Swerve at All In. The Cowboy in Texas gets the World Championship. That is it. That should have been the main event last year. They bypassed that to do Bryan. Bryan gave up the championship at Wrestle Dream, and it was a fucking mistake looking back at it because Tony wanted his moment for whatever reason. That's your main event this year. I don't know where Ospreay fits in and where he fits into the card, but I'm talking about the title and how we make this show better. You got to make the show better, and the only way you could do that and start doing that is taking the belt off Moxley, killing the Death Riders, and putting the belt on somebody that a lot of people would rather see more so than Jon Moxley, and that is Swerve Strickland. And then Page and him with the story going into All In, that is what we need. Story. And there's no better story right now, no better history than Swerve and Hangman going into their biggest show of the year. So I don't know what they do, but it may be praying, and our prayers may not be answered Sunday. That's the problem.